Hello, my name is Jerry Wise, and I'm a relationship expert. I've been helping individuals, couples, and families for close to 40 years now. And I'm the director of the Center for Self-Differentiation and also the director of Jerry Wise Relationship Systems, which you can find me at that website as well as YouTube channel. And today I'd like to talk about the traits of a spouse of a narcissist. I'm fortunate enough to be out here at the Omni Resort in Paradise Valley, Arizona. It's a little chilly today, though we've had some nice weather, but it's gotten a little cool out here today. In fact, I think there's some people that jumped in the pool. It's a little cool for me to jump in the pool, but you could hear them in the background, I suppose. This video is a list of traits regarding spouses of narcissists. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's a list of traits I wanted to share with you if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist. And I wanted to also say this video is for those who have been in a relationship with a narcissist. All the way, there's a continuum of narcissism from malignant narcissists way down here on this end, all the way down to someone who has the traits of narcissism but not full-blown personality disorder. So I realized that some of the information I'm going to share would not apply to everyone exactly wherever that narcissist falls on that continuum. There are different things you would do if you were in a relationship with a malignant narcissist. There's some things you might do if you were in the relationship with someone whom had some traits of narcissism or counterdependence, or someone who's kind of self-absorbed. So it's sometimes difficult to do a video kind of in the middle of the road, because that's why you need to work with someone specifically and individually in your case. Not all of the things that I would share would match your situation exactly. That's why you need to work with someone individually. But I'd like to talk in general about the traits of someone who's in a relationship with a narcissist, or SON, spouses of narcissists, sons. I'd really like to give some credit to the book by Wendy Bahari and her book Disarming the Narcissist, Surviving and Thriving with the Self-Absorbed. It's a very, very good book. I'd recommend that to you. You might check that out. There are a few things I've lifted from the book. Most of these ideas are mine, but there's a couple things, and I wanted to give her credit if I'm using any of her material. She really provides some great advice for those many, many spouses of the self-absorbed, which includes the narcissistic spouse. There's many things I'd like to reshare from her work and several of my own. As I've said, I've worked with many spouses who are married to the very self-absorbed, and to those who have had narcissistic husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, even friends, pastors. Narcissists are everywhere and can be in any part of our society. It can be difficult to deal with them. This is for the spouses of someone who's in a deep relationship with a narcissist. So what are some of the traits of a spouse of a narcissist? Well, spouses find narcissists to love and to resolve their childhood issues. We find narcissists to try to work out our childhood and past material that's within us, unconscious material, psychological material, and we hook up with a narcissist, and we repeat the patterns again from the past, but it also is a warning to us and a way that the universe helps us to begin to work on those issues, because we're in a very difficult relationship and we need to face those issues. So spouses, again, are attracted and love narcissists to try to work out some of those issues. And I hope that the spouses will see it that way. Second of all, spouses of narcissists may be very strong people. They suffer from low self-differentiation. They don't have a lot of self in there. And for them, enmeshment or fusion or codependency is very easy. Whereas autonomy and detachment and separateness is very difficult emotionally for spouses of narcissists. Thirdly, spouses have few, if any, personal boundaries. They either don't feel they're worthy of having boundaries, or they don't feel they can even keep them or declare them. They will often be used, disrespected, abused, ignored, disempowered, but cannot draw a line in the sand that they can keep. And they become very frustrated about that, sometimes can become very hopeless, and it can be very difficult for them to keep up a positive outlook when they just feel that they cannot set those boundaries with the narcissist. And again, it's not because they're weak or soft or uninsightful or stupid or dumb. It's because of none of those reasons. It is due to their own emotional field, which is that unconscious part of us, and the family of origin past which we have grown up in, and those unconscious, unresolved issues is why we can't set and maintain boundaries. So the bad news is we can't set and maintain boundaries. The good news is if we resolve some of those issues, we will begin to organically set boundaries, become stronger, and begin to work our way out of a very difficult situation. Fourthly, spouses of narcissists have a bent towards dissociation and observational blindness. And that dissociation is learned early. And we have learned just to leave our reasoning, to leave our thoughts, to leave our awareness, and even, in severe cases, to leave our bodies. Dissociation is we just take off from ourselves because it's so painful and so difficult. Whereas observational blindness is not seeing our own part in the relationship pattern and how we pretzeled together, this pretzeling between us and the narcissist. And we don't see that and we don't understand that. And so with that observational blindness, we'll make poor choices and think this is the right way to go or this is what I should do, when really that's not a good solution. That solution is coming out of our pretzel life in which we're all intertwined with the narcissist. And again, we do this dissociation, we do this observational blindness to take us away from the bad that is happening in our lives, much like we did when we were growing up as children in family of origin. Fifthly, spouses of narcissists feel trapped in entanglements and triangles with kids, because they have kids with the narcissist. They have biological connections in that way. And also business connections. And I've known some in which they're both working together in the same business. Well, now we've got even that connection. And how can I deal with the narcissist now that I have kids, now that we're in business together, and all these kinds of things with a family business. We have emotional triangles and entanglements with in-laws, family of origin from each of us, our friends, the flying monkeys that come in from all over places. And so we end up with many loyalties, and it's hard to see the forest for the trees because we've got so many different entanglements going on all at once. It seems very, very overwhelming. And we also may have some positive relationships with the narcissist family. There may be some support in that family for us. Our own family of origin may have some people who support us and some who don't. We have friends who support us and maybe some who don't. So it's a very complicated map that we look at, and how do we grow out of that? How do we progress out of that? Spouses of narcissists have low self-love and very low self-acceptance. They are very harsh with themselves. They're very critical. They're very hard on themselves, and also they don't know about how to love themselves. And if we don't know how to love ourselves, we will find someone who doesn't know how to love us either. If we don't know how to love ourselves, then we'll find somebody who doesn't know how to love us either. I wanted to repeat that. Seventh, spouses of narcissists tend to be other-focused or caretakers. They're the worriers. The spouses are the supporting cast members in this narcissistic, self-absorbed play. And we play that supporting cast role for their lives. They're the center and we kind of orbit around them. That gets very tiring, it gets old, also it doesn't meet our needs, and not much comes our way. Spouses of narcissists tend to be shame-based and guilt-based, extremely. We always feel we have done something wrong, which is guilt, and we always feel they're... And so spouses of narcissists tend to be shame-based, guilt-based. We always feel we have done things wrong, which is guilt. And we always feel there is something defective about us. That's shame. We are wrong. We are bad. Ninthly, spouses experience high unconscious and sometimes conscious chronic anxiety, which produces tons of reactivity within the spouses of narcissists, and will cause all kinds of arguments and all kinds of things that will happen as a result of that chronic anxiety that comes from all the unconscious things that we're not dealing with. Tenth, spouses of narcissists tend to have their awareness and their subjectivity was shaped by learning narcissistic relationships as the norm growing up and also into our adulthood with relationships. 11, number 11, spouses of narcissists exert major efforts to change the narcissist for the better. And they work on a more the better. The harder I try, the better it will be. Trying harder will work. Pushing and pulling will affect a change. Distancing and enmeshing will improve the relationship if I will just do that in the right combination. Trait 12, the spouse of a narcissist does not feel special and have few needs, trying to eradicate their own needs. They have few respect and empathy needs, but they crave respect, empathy, but suppress those all of the time so that they won't get in the way of the relationship, because empathy needs and respect needs don't go well in a narcissistic relationship. Number 13, spouses of narcissists tend to over-empathize, and these are the people narcissists target for supply. If you're empathetic and you tend to over-empathize, then the narcissist is going to seek you out and find you, because that's who they want. 14, spouses of narcissists tend to settle for the crumbs at the banquet of life and are very cheap, in quotes, emotionally. Just a very, very little emotional love bombing or emotional positive coming from the narcissistic spouse goes a long way. In other words, the narcissistic spouse say, honey, I really do love you. And then for 3 months, they don't need to hear anything else because they've gotten that little crumb, and now they'll live on that for quite some time. And the narcissist hopes that they will. 15, the spouse of narcissists tend to view entitlement by others, such as the narcissist, as a strength. There's something inside of them, oh, that looks strong. And they have a strong direction, or they have good control, or they have strong self-love. And it's kind of impressive when you see the narcissist and how they function. You go, ooh, I'm kind of attracted to that because they're a strong person, and I'm not really that as a spouse of a narcissist. So I almost see that in a very positive light. And then we will gravitate toward them as well. 16, spouses of narcissists have a difficult time with the fear of confronting others, especially their narcissistic partner. They know shame-shedding event is going to happen if they confront or share their own needs with the narcissist. Shame-shedding is going to happen, and the narcissist is going to feel shamed, and they're going to take it out on the spouse. Well, so Jerry, what should spouses of narcissists do to heal? And again, I haven't shared all the traits that are possible, but these are some of the traits of spouses of narcissists. And so what would be your advice, at least to start with? And we can do a whole nother video on what advice we would do, and I'll do that for you. First of all, I wouldn't do couples therapy or couples coaching. If you do that, things tend to stay hidden. People get bullied. It's show-off time for the narcissist, or it's time to be charming and put on an act. Or it's time for the narcissist to be intimidating, or these type of moves. So the focus will not be on them. Secondly, work on self. Self-differentiation work is most important. You can begin to read Jenny Brown, Growing Yourself Up, Harriet Lerner books, and books such as those that will help you begin to focus on real self-differentiation. Thirdly, begin to reduce feeding the beast. Begin to stop providing the details of your life, feelings, dreams, hurts. Stop putting your heart out there for the narcissist to pound on. We need to keep that within ourselves. Fourthly, examine and explore how you got here with a really good family of origin coach or therapist. This work will definitely give you the clues for your next step and to begin to get your life unstuck. Fifthly, remember, narcissistic abuse is not about an overreactivity to the normal ups and downs of relationships, nor is it complaint about uncompatibility or mere emotional unavailability in relationships. Narcissists tend to want to harm, and their inability to change and their sadistic nature, it's about extreme chronic devaluation, control, sabotage, and disrespect. That's what it's about. And number 6, as spouses of narcissists are survivors. See yourself as a survivor. Your trauma is real. Your trauma bond with the narcissist is real. Begin to bond with healthier others. Recovery groups, friends, supportive church friends. Increase me time. Increase self-pleasure. Get a good therapist or coach that you can begin to bond with them rather than the narcissist. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to sign up for information that I'd like to send you. Watch the 150 videos I have on YouTube. I hope you will join our YouTube channel. Sign up to be on my mailing list at www.jerrywiserelationshipsystems.com. There's going to be some new workshops coming out that are already done. They just need to be posted, and you'll be able to watch them. And I'll send those to you if you're on the mailing list. So I hope you will keep in touch with us so that we can contact you with this information. I feel very thrilled to be out here in Arizona. I had a reception that I needed to attend this past week, which was wonderful, out here in Paradise Valley. The mountains are behind me. The pools back there, I think they've got 3 pools here or something. It's an incredible location. The Omni Monte Lucia resort, which is quite beautiful. I'd like to return sometime. I hope the video has been a help to you in some way today. I realize I'm starting to lose my light. We were trying to get this done sooner, and the light, when it starts to get dark, it starts to get dark quickly. and I may have missed that time spot. But I do want to tell you, I hope that this has been a support and a help to you. Please watch those other videos, and thank you for watching today, and have a great day. Not only do narcissists love bomb, but families can love bomb. Unhealthy families can love bomb us. We want to learn to recognize it. We want to learn to regulate our own emotions about it, particularly our guilt. And we want to learn techniques to detach from it. Dysfunctional families can swing from dysfunctional all the way over to love bombing, overly attentive, caring, and they can appear to do that so that we are manipulated in a way that we will give in to their wishes. But these love bombing always has negative motives and selfish motives. It's important to set boundaries for bad behavior of others and excessively good behavior of others as well. Boundaries for bad behavior and boundaries for good behavior when it is love bombing behavior. Control is the main driver for crazy making of love bombing, which produces a lot of guilt inside us. And of course, that's one of the signs that you can recognize when someone is love bombing me. Do I feel guilty by not responding the way they want me to respond? Realizing love bombing is about manipulation and neediness, not affection or caring. Work on letting go of your guilt, which makes love bombing work for the narcissist or for the dysfunctional family. What are some of the signs of family love bombing? Inappropriate gifts, lavish gifts, or the timing is off. Someone decides to do something really nice for you or buy a very nice gift for you from the family, but it's not your birthday, it's not Christmas, it seems to go along with the tension or conflict that we're having. The timing is off. If you hear never-ending compliments, well, they weren't complimenting me 2 months ago like this, and now they're giving me all kinds of compliments. Excessive communication, or a need for that communication. Maybe it's Facebook posts that you'll see a family member puts up things about you and them on Facebook, and how wonderful you got along and how wonderful that time was, or baby pictures, or all kinds of things that can be used to try to manipulate you into doing what they want. Constant attention or too much intensity in the relationship. Oh, we've made your special dishes for the family dinner. I know you'll come and I know you'll love that. And you've already said, I choose not to come to this. I have plans for that date. Or dad has decided to co-sign for you on that car loan. Again, trying to buy love and attention. Enmeshment language is often a sign of love bombing. We are a family, don't forget that. You know we really love you. You know I love you. And I pray for you every day. All those kinds of claims are to play on your feelings and emotions. Or maybe it's demanding commitment or loyalty. You know this is what our family does. They're loyal. And it's common that families will use worry as the reason for breaking the boundaries that you've set. Disrespecting your boundaries also is a sign of love bombing. I know you asked me not to call you in between times that you have called me, but I just miss your voice and my special daughter. When actually you had said, hey, Mom, I'm going to call you, once a month and see how things are going. And that's what I'd prefer. No, mom calls you the other 3 weeks and is telling you how special you are, how much she misses you, those kinds of things. Love bombing also includes a neediness guilt pattern. They are needy. You're supposed to feel guilt if those needs aren't met. Dad lets you know, Mom is just so hurt about you not calling her. We've just been so worried about you. And worry, again, is one of those that's often used for love bombing. Well, if you really worried about me, you would be, going along with my boundaries, because that's what I've said, or that's what I've asked for. Then another one that I don't hear so much about is, this is what I've heard from God about us, kind of messages. I really think God wants us to get along better. Or I really think you're just not honoring your father and your mother. Again, that's, and that, how much you mean to us. Again, a love bombing with a little throw in of spirituality and God in there. And oftentimes families and narcissists will use God in their attempt to manipulate you. Idealization. You've always been my favorite. And you get lots of flattery all of a sudden. And you're going, wait a minute. Because true compliments are not flattery. True compliments come at the right time, in an appropriate way, and with no strings attached. But if compliments comes with strings attached, meaning if you accept this compliment, then you'll do what I want, then it's love bombing. When someone brings up a past good deed they have done to shift your thinking and feelings, and that bringing up those deeds is love bombing. Don't you remember when we helped you pay for your first car? Don't you remember when we were there for you when this happened? And it's like, well, yeah, I might remember that, but that was a long time ago. And since then, a lot of water has gone under the bridge. And they ignore that. Love bombing just feels like something just isn't right. Or it's too good to be true. This is, it plays on our fantasies or our desires. That's always what I've wanted to hear from them. But from past circumstances, it changes back to where you're not someone whom they respect and accept. So we want to be aware of our own vulnerabilities. Where are we vulnerable? What are our fantasies that they can play upon? To have that ideal family, to have the love and acceptance of parents or brothers and sisters or family members. I have a workshop coming up soon about getting the family out of you. I hope you'll go to my website and check it out. Something I found to be helpful, which I was reading on the internet, she had stated that she will ask herself, am I chasing or choosing? Am I chasing the high that comes when I feel overwhelmed with love? Do I feel like a golden child all of a sudden when I haven't been the golden child? Or am I choosing with a logical and clear mind to do something thoughtful because I think it will make them happy? We have to decide, what is going on? How do I feel when this happens? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? Become aware of yourself. So the question becomes, well, what can you do about love bombing that comes from families? Ask the question, is this realistic or meeting fantasy needs of mine? Because many times love bombing is meeting fantasy needs. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist or someone who is unhealthy and they tend to be more manipulative, then anything you share can give them information as to what you might want or need, because that's something that you value so much. And they will use that to manipulate you. Families will do that as well. And they know us inside and out because they grew up with us. When love bombing occurs, work on yourself, not them. Work on reducing your guilt and regulating your feelings. I would read the book When I Say No, I Feel Guilty by Manuel J. Smith. Remind yourself of the hurt, control, non-acceptance, or meanness in the past. And ask yourself, with this love bombing going on, have they truly changed? No, they haven't. They have switched over from meanness to love bombing. And they've made the pendulum switch. And if they haven't gotten the help for themselves, you can pretty much guess this new love for you and love bombing for you is not because they've changed. They've switched tactics, not that they have changed internally. Don't feed the love bombing by absorbing it. They can tell if it's working. Work on your stoicism, your neutrality, or as many say, the gray rock, become a gray rock, or have neutral responses to what's going on. Don't become overly excited about these wonderful things that you're hearing. When you're love bombed, don't try to change them or therapize them or give them insight about what they're doing. It won't work. If I can only just explain what they're doing, they'll see what they're doing and they'll stop. That's a myth. Don't try to rehabilitate them. It only keeps you enmeshed and caught up with them in the relationship. And again, you're dealing with your fantasies as well. I want them to change. I would love to have a different father and mother in how they behave, or sister and brother, or, aunt, uncle, cousins. I would like them to change. So I'd like to rehabilitate them so I could be happy. No, you be happy regardless of their rehabilitation. Possible responses to love bombing, and I think this is in a low anxiety situation. You can say, well, from our past experience, sis, that's not the only way that you feel towards me. And I think that's in a more low anxiety relationship that you might have. Whereas they can take that or leave that, use it or not use it. And again, if they've been critical, negative, ridiculing, and now all of a sudden, oh, you're my favorite brother, you're just so wonderful. Well, sis, I'm not sure you've always just only felt that way about me. In a more high anxiety, toxic relationship, I would be short, curt, and flat. Thank you, I gotta run. And not get into any other reasons, and not really, you've acknowledged that you've heard them, but you've also are communicating to them, you're not really taking that in. So you're not absorbing it. Thank you, gotta run. If you have trouble setting boundaries, I hope you'll go to the website and work with one of the coaches that we have. I really think that could help you with your boundaries and love bombing. Again, I've got a workshop coming up. Go to the website, check that out. I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day and be wise. Hey, hi everybody. My name is Jerry Wise, and I'm a life and relationship coach. I've been working to help people for about 45 years, and I hope that you will subscribe, like, comment on my YouTube channel. I hope you'll join us. And this video is entitled 4 Ways to Fight Back the Family. And I had shared a video before on when the family attacks. And this is a video that talks about fighting back the family within us. And I wanted to share 4 things that would be, I think, helpful for people to think about. I'm not giving 3 easy steps because I really don't believe very much in quick fixes. I mean, there are some things we can do that can help rather quickly, but most of the time these problems are long-standing, they're deep within us, and are not just fixed by doing A, B, and C. We have to think about it more. We have to work at this more. And it's kind of a road less traveled when you take the road of self-differentiation, which I've always appreciated because I felt it has helped me the most to make changes in my own life. Fighting back the family inside us is about stabilizing ourselves. It's about gaining personal power, personal authority within the system. Not personal authority over the system or personal power over the system. The family's already trying to control the system and to control you many times. This is about me gaining internal personal power, which is what helps me fight back the family within me. And it's the process of controlling me, not them. And I find so many people over the years work so hard to try to counter their family's controlling with their own controlling. And that often keeps you in a stalemate and keeps you stuck with the family inside of you. Using power in that way is not going to get you free. And that's why I like to share the message of self-differentiation, which is the work of Murray Bowen and family systems theory. And it, again, has been the most helpful for me, having gone through many different iterations and modes and models of help. And this has been the most long-lasting, helpful approach for me. So let's talk about the 4 ways. The first one is detachment work to fight back. And I think it's one of the most important ones. It's that process of breaking the emotional bonds, the glue, the super self that I'm a part of in the family, the emotional field that I partake of all the time with the family. That's what I'm emotionally all caught up in. And that produces systems feelings, trauma bonds, all kinds of things that happen within me as a result of all of that glue of us all being together emotionally. And again, we can all live in 4 corners of the world and still be emotionally caught up or enmeshed or overly connected emotionally to our family of origin in an unhealthy way. We are attached often by pain, systems feelings, hurt, guilt, shame, and that trauma bonding that I mentioned. That's what kind of holds us together. And there's a big hold within me as a result of those emotional dynamics. And we want to gain personal power, personal authority over our own lives and our own inner lives and how we function in the system. Because we want to gain that sense of self-empowerment to do that. But that requires growing up. And it requires doing these 4 things, if not more. These are just a few of the 4 things that I'm going to talk about today. There's a great book by Donald Williamson, and it's entitled The Intimacy Paradox, Personal Authority in the Family System. It's written, I think, primarily for clinicians or for practitioners, but I really think it is a book that lay people could read and would find a lot of help and interest and be interested in what he's saying in there. I've done a lot of underlining in mine, and I've had it for years, and I just really liked the way he talked about personal authority. And he kind of identifies self-differentiation as personal authority. And I like that concept, and personal authority within the system. And again, it's not authority over other people, it's authority over myself as I function in the system. And he explains more about that. Donald Williamson. We often think of what power can I use to change the system? What power can I use to stop the scapegoating, to stop the blaming, to stop the toxicity, to stop the reactivity and inner negative messages I have and emotional content that I have as a result of the family and me being in the family? And we talk about what power can I use? And oftentimes people will try to use greater power to overcome the other power. And it's not power versus power. That doesn't work well in relationships. Personal authority and self-differentiation is where the powerhouse is. That's where we really have a powerhouse available to us. And so we think, what power can I use to change this? Jerry, how can I change my family scapegoating me? How can I deal with the scapegoating that's going on? How can I deal with the blame that's going on? And I would tell them, well, that's part of the problem. You're dealing with it. And people go, what do you mean I'm dealing with it? Of course I'm dealing with it. That's what's going on. But when you're dealing with these emotional dynamics within the family, then you're caught up in them. We want to begin to learn to not deal with them. I don't want to deal with their scapegoating, someone else's blaming. I don't want to deal with that. The whole point for me to be caught and stuck is to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. That's your side of the tennis net. It's not my side of the tennis net. And so I'm not going to deal with that on that side. Now, I will talk about what do we do in the relationship if it persists, and even if I gain greater detachment, which we'll be talking about. And we're talking about the detachment work. So we want to not use the power, but use the power of emotional detachment, which is the source of real power in a system. And there are many clients that I've had that once they've gained a sense of detachment and are not as caught up in the family trance, the family rules, the family roles, the family negative dynamics, they go, I feel so much more empowered as a person and even how I deal with it. When I care less, which is I'm not going to deal with it, when I care less, I am empowered more. And then they are less in me. They're around me, of course, and we have relationships all around us. But they're just people. They're just not well people. But I don't have to deal with the pinging and relationship struggles that I'm having emotionally that confuse me being an adult and being a separate person and acting out of my side of the tennis net, which is what I want to do, and not deal with their side of the tennis net. I want to stay on mine. And I remember I always felt so powerless, except when I was reactive. Have you ever felt that way? Where, man, I'm just resigned, I'm just codependent, I just give in, I just want there to be peace, I wish they'd change, and then when I get tired of that, then I become reactive, and I feel like I have some power then. I kind of re-energize, and with that reactivity, I think, ooh, I feel some more power. The problem is, But even when I am reactive, they are still pulling the strings, the same as if I'm not reactive. Now I've just gone to the other side of the pendulum and become reactive, though it feels more empowering because I'm more on the aggressive side. And so I feel like, oh, I've got some more power. But generally I'll fall back into the other category, being compliant, tired, resigned. And so family systems and self-differentiation, I think, offers a way to think about, as a friend of mine talks about, the 90 and 90. Instead of going from 0, compliant, codependent, give in, passive, then over here to reactive, and being assertive in a negative way, aggressively assertive, lashing out. So the 0 to 180, what we want to learn, and what I think self-differentiation provides for us, is the 90-degree mark, where I'm neither compliant, neither resigned, neither am I aggressive and reactive. I'm more detached, and I can be more adult-like in light of this other negativity and toxicity. And I think that brings a sense less calm, or more calmness, less anxiety, and we can begin to live that way, working on our detachment work and learning how to detach. And when we work with clients here, and when my associates and I work with clients, we help them to learn to detach so that they have less pain, less reactivity, less hopelessness, less just being stuck. The second way we can resist the fighting back, we can fight back the family, is clarity work to fight back. Clarity work. Well, what do you mean by clarity work? And let me tell you a question I will ask. I will ask a client, well, what kind of relationship do you want to have with your sister? What kind of relationship do you want to have with your mother or your parents or whomever? And they go, well, I want one that we care about each other and we support each other and we love each other and accept each other. And I'm going, well, is that the relationship you want to have, or is that a fantasy relationship you want to have? Because you just described the relationship you want to have with them in we terms. We want to do this. We want to be nice to each other. When I ask that question, I'm asking, given the way your family member or sister or parent or mother or father, given the way they are, what kind of relationship do you want to have with them? Well, they've never thought of that. Oh, I don't know. I've never been clear about that. Exactly. And that's where we want to become more clear. Given this is who they are and how they operate or function, often as a result of many generations, what kind of relationship do you want? And don't give me a relationship that transforms them into beautiful people and wonderful people. That's just going to keep you stuck and yearning and wanting and also resentful, bitter, sad, disappointed, etc. What values do I have that would guide my relationship and interactions with my family? What values do I go by? For example, I don't believe it's good to lie to other people. I don't think it's good to lie to other family members. They may feel it's advantageous or good to lie to other people. So what kind of relationship do I want to have with them? Well, first of all, I'm not going to lie. Those are my values. And also, I may not want to keep certain secrets because that's not my values. I want to approach the relationship based on what I believe. Rather than, well, they just need to learn to stop lying. Well, wouldn't that be wonderful? I wish they would learn to stop lying. But that's less likely to happen. And so I want to begin to act the way I want to act as an adult. And so if I don't believe lying is, then I'm going to be sharing with them, this is how I do an adult, mature relationship with you. And you may not like that. That may be possible, that you may not like that. But that's where our detachment work has helped us to be more stronger in our own values and beliefs, because we're less attached. And so there's less fear, less worry. Oh, but what if I say this? Then they won't like me anymore, won't love me, or won't care about me, or put me down. Well, now wait a minute. You're talking about everything they're doing on their side of the tennis net. That's their side of the tennis net. And just because it's going on their side of the tennis net may not mean it's real. It's their perspective and their woundedness or brokenness that's causing that mayhem or chaos or distortion. It's not me causing it. And so I can leave them over there going, you can be as however you want to be over there, and I'm going to be over here. And what are my values? And so, how do I want to act as a mature adult with my family? Detached, with boundaries, knowing when to exit and take exits when the heat's too high and I don't like this, and I have that right. That's one of our assertiveness rights that we have. I can take a time out. I can stop. I can say I'm done. I can say I gotta go. I need to talk to you later. Sounds like it'd be better if we talk about this at a later time. I also have values of I'm not going to be judgmental. I don't think it's good to be judgmental, even of toxic, negative people. I don't think it's good to be judgmental. Doesn't mean I want to be best friends. And I realize you're over on that side of the tennis net, and I don't judge you. You are who you are, and probably as a result of many generations, and you haven't worked on being different. Some people don't work on being different. And they may not have insight. They may have a personality disorder. They may have a psychiatric disorder. They may have all kinds of problems, substance abuse. But that doesn't mean I have to stand for everything. I don't have to stand for everything that they do. Neither do I have to judge them. Because judging them also keeps me attached. Worrying about them is an enmeshment state. Judging them is an enmeshment state. Blaming is an enmeshment state. All of those comes out of our over-closeness when we do those things. And then from clarity work, we move to number 3, which is functioning work. Functioning work to fight back. So it has to do with now my functioning, not just my internal. Now what am I going to do? I try to work on learning to think over feel, especially if there's enmeshment or real high anxiety. When there's high anxiety, I want to think and not feel. And I want to shut this down when I'm interacting with people if there's high anxiety. I can always deal with my feelings later. Right now, if I deal with my feelings right now and with them, I'm going to get all confused, reactive, who knows what I'm going to do if I'm in the feeling mode. So I want to be thoughtful as a mature adult. I want to be an observer. And like with Rosenberg, we want to observe and not absorb. I want to observe how my family deals with anxiety in the family. Have you ever looked to see how your family deals with anxiety in the family? Who gets pinged? Who gets reactive? Who does this? You can actually, once you start seeing the system from a observer's point of view, you can sit at the holidays or whatever, and you can just watch this whole drama and play out. And you say, oh, there's Aunt so-and-so talking to cousin, who then talks to mom, and you can just see the anxiety going all the way around. And then dad gets upset, his anxiety gets upset, and he does. And you can start to see how the anxiety is pushing almost everything. And we want to observe that, because that will allow us to function better if we can see that and learn to do that. And we try to help people and teach people how to do that. And my videos have been to try to help you be aware of what's going on, so you're not just observationally blind when we're dealing with our family. Learning to set healthy boundaries. That's a functioning thing that we want to learn to do, is to learn to, and you'll see that in many books and videos, and I want to say that we set boundaries because someone's pushing us away, and boundaries are a way to help not deteriorate the relationship more. And many families and other people don't recognize that. I'm setting boundaries to stay in a relationship with you. I'm not setting boundaries to because I don't want any relationship with you. I'm setting boundaries to try and help our relationship because you're across the line, or you're over on my side of the tennis net, or you're not acting in a healthy, mature, caring, compassionate, neutral way. And so I have to set these certain boundaries. And actually your behavior is pushing me away. And boundaries are the way to stay connected, believe it or not. Now, they will see boundaries as unwelcome, I'm sure, but actually its whole purpose is to try to keep relationships at some cordial or manageable level. We want to also resist the pings of others. Are you noticing how the anxiety is going on in the family, and then when it hits you? When do you start feeling anxious? And, ooh, I hear them talking about so-and-so, Missy, and I hear them talking about Brad, and I hear, ooh, I'm starting to get that anxiety. And so you see that pinging starting to happen when you feel that anxiety start to rise. And we want to resist those pings of other people. Of course, living by your values, principles, and beliefs, which I have already been shared with you about how we want to live what we believe and our own values and our own beliefs. Also, in functioning, one of the things that we also want to learn in our work of self-differentiation, resisting the family within us, fighting back, is owning our own subjectivity. If you really want to be powerful in a system, you want to own your own subjectivity. Objectivity is what you see. Subjectivity is how you see what you see. In other words, the meaning to what you see. Not just what you see, but the meaning to what you see. Without the need of others' agreements, without the need of others' affirmation. For example, if somebody is gaslighting, and you know and the gaslighting is not true. It's obviously not true. That isn't what happened. You know, they said, I left the soccer game and I was mad, and that's why everybody's upset with me. Well, I never left the soccer game mad. I wasn't upset. I actually left for a different reason, and it was because of this and this. So that gaslighting, wait a minute, that's not my subjectivity. My objectivity is this is what I did, and this is why, and this is how I understood it. You've got a whole nother objectivity or subjectivity going on. You have yours and I have mine, and I'm going to own my own. I will function better if I do that. And I consider this a process of learning to dance in a different way with your family. And because it is a dance. It's always a dance. I tell people all the time, they go, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with my family of origin. I don't want to have anything to do with my family. I don't want to deal with all that. Well, if you don't deal with all that, then you will always be dealing with all that. Just like in families, oh, well, we didn't believe much in feelings. Then probably everything that went on was based only on feelings in a family. And so there are books by Harriet Lerner, who was one of the first authors to come out with popular books on self-differentiation and Bowen theory. The Dance of Anger, she calls it the dance of intimacy, the dance of connection. And I think those books, and I would recommend those, Harriet Lerner, and I would recommend those because she talks about the dance and learning how to dance differently. And then fourthly is to heal your own wounds, to fight back and to resist the family. Your family can't heal your wounds. I've just, when I was practicing as a marriage and family therapist and practicing as a pastoral counselor and a psychiatric family therapist and an addictions family counselor, that families can't heal your wounds for you. Even if they come around to accepting and taking responsibility and asking for forgiveness, which is all wonderful. I would like all that to happen. But you still have to deal with your pain and your trauma and your wounds. We still must do that. And the good news is, the bad news is your family can't heal your wounds. The good news is you don't need your family to heal. You don't need your family to heal. We must heal our own wounds and our own CPTSD and our own pain. And maybe there have been times in which you've tried to use your family to heal. And, by confronting them, trying to get fixed or to feel better by talking with them. Or if I confront them and tell them all my feelings and how well has it turned out? Often it doesn't turn out well at all, because when we're trying to do that with the family, there's an unconscious message and sense that we're wanting to get our healing from them, and they will resist that, and they often act badly or become defensive, and that's where it becomes a problem. And so we want to work on our healing and our wounds in a safe way. Healing also comes, in healing the wounds, by managing your anxiety and managing your detachment efforts, as I've said before. Managing that anxiety is so important. Go watch my video, Calmness is Everything. That's a long video, but it's helped, I think, a lot of people in dealing with their anxiety and where they got it from, systems anxiety, and I really would recommend that video. We want to be self-aware, learn to become more self-aware, learn to become more self-defining, learn to become more self-regulating, and we do this awareness work, the grief work, the letting go work, the expression and owning of feelings work. Because on the one hand, I'm saying, don't shut your feelings down over here. But in healing, we don't want to shut our feelings down. We want to deal with those feelings. It's that this is an unsafe place to deal with feelings. This is a safe place to deal with feelings. If you would like to work together with me or one of my associates, I hope that you'll contact us